Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here with a teacher back to school book tag. So this tag was originally created by Megan from Megan's Reading Revelations. I'll link her video down below as well as all the prompts. And I'm so excited about this tag because it is a teacher themed book tag and I'm a teacher. So that's cool. You can do this tag even if you're not a teacher. So consider yourself tagged if you like the prompts and you find this video interesting. So let's just get started. Prompt number 1, a book that has a great mentor-mentee or teacher-student relationship. So I struggled a little bit with this one. I was going to choose Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban because of Lupin, but then I thought about the truth about the Harry Cupboard affair. Is it Harry Cupboard or Harry Cupboard? I don't know. By Joel Dicker, and this is about Marcus Coleman, who is a writer helping his former professor proving his innocence. So there are a lot of interesting moments here between Marcus and Harry as, you know, student and professor, mentee and mentor. Marcus is a writer because of Harry, so he was his mentor as well as his professor. Now is his friend and he's trying to help him. So I found this book to be very entertaining, even though I was not blown away. That's my fault. I thought this book was going to be a 5-star book and it wasn't, so I was a little bit disappointed, but that's my fault. I highly recommend it if you're looking for just a really sort of fast-paced, not always fast-paced, but sort of fast-paced mystery. This was really interesting, but there were a few things that I was not a fan of, but no, other than that, it's a great book. Reading and writing. The last book you read that was over 400 pages, so I would have to say Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. This is 587 pages long, and I think I finished it last week. This was a buddy read and I love this book. This was published in 2002 and has great LGBT plus representation, and I was just impressed because back in 2002 no one was talking about this. And we can't forget that Murakami is Japanese, and I don't know how things work in Japan, but what a lot of people say, it is not something that people talk about openly. So I was very happy to see that. It just proves that Murakami, you know, he keeps up with changes in society. He tries to include everything he can in his stories. A lot of people say that he doesn't do it, but there you go. He actually does it. Math, a book that you've read or want to read that has a number in the title. So the book that I've read, and I couldn't find anything else, is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. These are actually 3 books because in Portuguese editions, 1Q84 is divided into 3 volumes. And I really like this saga, sort of call it a saga or trilogy. I would like to review these books, this story, but I have to reread it because it's just very complicated, obviously, because it's Murakami. But yeah, this is the book that I've read with a number in the title. But I would also like to read The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. I have it on my e-reader and I was a huge fan of the Musketeers growing up. I used to play by myself and pretend I was a musketeer. Number 4, science. The last science fiction book you read, or a science fiction book you want to read, or a book that contains scientific elements. So I don't read science fiction, but I have books that contain scientific elements. So I'm going to say How Far We Fall by Jane Schmidt. This is a contemporary and one of the main characters is a neurosurgeon, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, and he's actually working on finding a cure or treatment for this very rare tumor. So I wouldn't say there's a lot of scientific jargon, but a little bit, a few terms here and there. But I can also recommend Frankenstein, obviously by Mary Shelley. So we have some science fiction here, I would say. I don't know if I have to explain Frankenstein to you. I'm pretty sure you know what this is about. I would highly recommend an edition like this one. This one has Mary Shelley's earliest draft and then Percy Shelley's revised text. You can read the one that Percy Shelley revised and then compare it to Mary Shelley's earliest draft. So if you are looking for an edition of Frankenstein, I would highly recommend one like this because it's just so interesting to compare and see what she changed based on her husband's advice and opinion. Then we have history, the last book you read or a book you want to read that takes place in the past. So recently I read Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and it's just very interesting. It has a lot of social commentary, and it is about these two sisters who don't have a lot of money, but they know a lot of people with a lot of money. They are sort of guests to their circle, and it's sort of a commentary on how they are perceived and because of their status. And obviously we have some love interests in the middle, and it's just very, very cute. I would recommend it if you like Jane Austen, but I don't know if this is the best one to start with. I would also recommend A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. This takes place after the 1920s Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. If you are a fan, because I'm obsessed with Russia for some reason, I love, like, Russian composers are my favorite. Russian history is just so interesting. If you're like me, you will love this book, but word of warning, it is very, very dense. It is packed with historical context, and that's good because it gives you a lot of information about the time period, but it can be very dense, very slow paced at times. If you are thinking about reading this book, just know that it's not going to be super fast, but it is a page turner nonetheless. So I would highly recommend this one. I loved it. It's so good. 6. Foreign language. A book that you've read or want to read that was translated from another language, or a book that contains another language, real or imaginary. So I'm going to show you a book that I've read that was translated. This book was translated from Chinese, and it is The Seventh Day by Yu Hua. Please read this book. No one talks about this book. This book is not unpopular. People just don't know about it. Read it, please do. It's so good. And if you like Murakami, this will give you major Murakami vibes. This is about a man who has passed away, but because he doesn't have a place to rest, he is just wandering the afterlife for 7 days. I was going to say for 5 days. For 7 days, and he meets all of these quirky, interesting characters, but he also goes through his life in flashbacks, and he sort of analyzes them and tries to understand what happened and the purpose of his life. It's so good. It's just so good. Please read this book. I also want to read, this book was also translated from a foreign language, and that's Haruki Murakami's Norwegian Wood. I'm confused. Is this the one that everybody loves? I think there's one like that. I'm not sure. I am very, very curious. Also because I don't know if this is about the Beatles or if it has anything to do with the Beatles. Because of this. So I never read the blurb before I start a book by Murakami, just because sometimes blurbs, it's like classics. When you read the blurb, sometimes you already know everything. You know, they're super spoilery. So I try not to do that. And number 7, Physical Education, a book that you had to push yourself to finish. I let you go back, Claire McIntosh. This was a no-brainer. I almost DNF'd that book like 7 times. It was just bad. You know, really awful flat characters, no character development whatsoever. Plot holes everywhere. Just it didn't make any sense. At some point I couldn't even bear the language at some point. I was just so annoyed. I didn't like it at all, but still, I actually wanted to know who did it because I had a theory and I wanted to make sure that I was not wrong, and I wasn't. Also because the book is super predictable. So I knew who did it, but I wanted to make sure. It's bad. It's like the worst read of 2020. So that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Consider yourself tagged if you like the prompts. And let me know down below if you have read any of these books, if you enjoy them or not. Let's just start a conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Hello to my new subscribers. I hope you're well and safe, as well as everyone you love. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.